Okay, good afternoon. Um, I wanted to actually do this video earlier, but I just didn't want to do it. But anyway, that's not the point of this video. Um, this is mainly going to be a part two of what I was talking about yesterday, anxiety, because I was just thinking before I had decided to make this video that and it don't have to be true or not, but sometimes we have our own theory in our case, and this is just a theory in my own case. And like I've been dealing with anxiety for a while now, like a while, because this is what, February, and it's been a minute. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long while since I've been dealing with anxiety. Like I said, I have medications that I'm taking, and it's atrocious. The medication is pretty much the reason why I'm having anxiety in the first place. And I was thinking about how in 2012, where I was having anxiety and I wasn't even taking medication. I was, but I stopped. But I was still having anxiety. And I was thinking about how I just kept thinking about death. Well, anxiety was making me afraid, and it was making me feel like somebody was going to die. And I remember the first time dealing with anxiety and anxiety attacks, really, where I like death. That was like the only thing I was thinking about was fear and death. Obviously, it's unwanted thoughts. Like, you don't want to think about this, especially loved ones. And I think it was what, April. April, my cousin died, but this was like, I think it was after him, which I think I was having major anxiety. But I remember having anxiety to where it was like the debilitating fear of my dad dying. And just that entire year, well, my dad dying and then like the end of the world, because you remember, I think it was like December something, where it was supposed to be the end of the world, and that was just absolutely petrifying. So I was dealing with anxiety was the main thing at the time, like the fear of my dad dying. And I know like twice, I think that year, where somebody's dad did pass. So I was just in so much agony, and I didn't really tell nobody what exactly I was feeling. Because I mean, I was, but I wasn't really open to friends or whoever about the fear and all that I was having. I did have a therapist, but she was shit. Sometimes she was helpful, but most of the time she was shit. Um, and it's just anxiety is just a debilitating fear, and when people say I'm having anxiety, I would like to sometimes know what actually are you feeling, because me, I'm just feeling just this grave fear, like somebody's going to die. And this is the third time this month that I've gotten the news that somebody passed. Um, the first was my uncle, which is my dad's brother. He died two weeks ago, and was it what 2 days ago? I think it was, where a neighbor that's in the same neighborhood, like literally in the same um resident, I think that's what you call it, has passed. And I knew her. The last time I spoke to her and seen her, I forgot. I think it was like maybe sometime last year towards the end. And yeah, and her husband, I would like to say it's her husband, but she was saying that was her boyfriend. Um, like I said, I was on the way somewhere, and he basically told me that she passed, and I was like, wow. So the whole ride I was crying. But and then today one of my friends, my only friend, she told me friend that we all hung out with years ago, that her mom passed. She saw it on Facebook, and I was like, which is great, you know. And even though all of it has to do with health related issues, it's still the fact that I know them and they died. And um and like I said, I'm just getting like just fear of death like all the time. And then I know it's not gonna happen, but it's just like sometimes it just creeps up on my mind, where I'm having surgery soon, like really in 2 weeks, I'm having a myomectomy. And so yeah, I'm just like, oh my gosh. But of course, that's normal apparently. But I just keep just. I remember it was in 22, and I remember telling my mom it was a situation that happened to me, and I remember just always having anxiety. And I remember the first time I was having anxiety, and I remember my mom was in the living room, and I was looking at her. I just kept having just this fear of death. And of course, I was looking at my mom like, who is it going to die? Like, you, who is it? And I remember it was just crazy. And the first time I kept getting just this fear of death, I found out it was someone, she was a manager of this place that I live in. And we were really tight, like really tight. And and then I found out she passed. And then and it just got to the point that because it wasn't like all the time, but it had got to the point that every time that I would feel like somebody was going to die, they actually did. And this is no, like, I can't make this up. And I've always been wanting to, like, make videos. And I wish that I actually was recording this and, stuff. But every time I kept hearing, like, every time I kept feeling like somebody was going to die, like that fear of death, somebody that I know actually passed away. And this is not the first time I dealt with this. In the beginning that I was dealing with this was through dreams. And every single time, I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember it got to the point where I was either telling my mom or somebody, like, I feel like somebody's going to die. Like, it was just debilitating. They did. Like, I remember the last 2 times, I remember, like I remember the last 2 times, because it probably was like at least 5 times that I kept feeling like, oh my God, somebody's going to die. And it was obviously someone that I knew. And, like the last 2 times was in late December. I literally remember going into, because my mom was living with me. And I remember going into a room, I was like, Mom, I feel like somebody's going to die. Which ended up being my cousin, my dad's brother son, which is obviously, my cousin. And then before that, I remember just feeling like it was in November, I think it was. And I just can't remember, like, it was just such a debilitating fear. Like, I feel it, I feel it, I feel it. And when I kept feeling it, and then my brother told me horrible news, because I knew her. I knew her since she was in her mom's stomach, and we all knew her. We known her. Let's just put it this way. It wasn't just me. And then I found out that she passed, and I literally kind of said it to myself, and I was like, I knew it. Not that I knew she was gonna pass, but I knew it was close to someone that I knew was gonna pass, and I was like, I knew it. I was like, I knew it. And can you imagine just going through this by yourself? Like, sure, I was telling my mom, or sometimes I was keeping it to myself in the beginning, but can you just imagine dealing with this by yourself? And I think someone I once told that I was going through this, she was like, this is a gift. If this is a gift, hand it to somebody else. 2014 was when we first moved here. And the funny thing is, the beginning of 14, I was still living in North Carolina. I really wasn't dealing with anything, not that I can remember. And then, we moved here July, like literally July 1st, because I remember that's my sister's birthday, but it was like it was around that time. It probably was July 1st, but everything was fine. Like, can you imagine? Everything's fine, blah, 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 And then we moved here to Georgia, and I was totally fine. Everything was just, brand new, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, nobody's going to see you, just anything. It's just, And then, I don't know. Like, I'm going to skip to it. I'm going to skip to, like, because it's the purpose of the video. And I started having dreams. Now, this started with dreams. And I remember telling my friend it spooked her out. I started having dreams. It was twice that week. And this obviously may be crazy to somebody, but I'm just telling you. I didn't have, like, anxiety, but I just remember having dreams. And it was about relatives. And then before you know it, because I guess if you are a fan of somebody, then of course I think that'll be the reason, this connection. I don't know how, but I'm just telling you. Um, I had a dream that like my uncle died, and then I don't know if it was later on that day or whatever, but or shortly afterwards. Let's put it that way. One of my good friends from high school, her child died, and then later on that like later on that week, I had a dream that I don't even want to say it out loud. So let's just say I had a dream about a relative, because I don't even say that out loud. It's just no. And Joan Rivers died. Like, it makes no sense. Like, okay, Joan Rivers, like, how is that in relation to you? Clearly. But like I said in the first half of this video, I kept having dreams. You know what I'm saying? But I guess if you're a fan of this person and you feel like you know this person, a lot of people say that. Oh, I feel like I know you. You like with anybody that they are a fan of, like you know. But Joan Rivers ended up dying. That was very hard for me to just hear, because you know, that was very hard for me to hear and to just like watch and stuff like that. The you know, but regardless, is just I'm talking about anxiety, but dealing with anxiety just period. Like yesterday, I was at my mom's house and I was in the room with my sister, and I just had like an overwhelming rush of either I know it wasn't panic, because I would probably know the difference. No, I know the difference between panic attack and anxiety attack, and you know that. But yeah, this is third death this month, you know, and I obviously don't want to go through it no more. I know that in life it's definitely going to happen. It's going to happen. People you don't want to just have to bury or just never talk again. I can't imagine. I can't imagine, because I don't even want to speak it out loud, because I don't want that to happen. You know, obviously I don't want that to happen. I know they don't want that to happen, and you know, obviously we're born to die, which is clearly the worst thing about life, you know. And it's so funny because when I first I was what, a teenager at that point, I think, and I was in my room. I was in middle school at that point, and it was years, like, obviously, and I was in my bedroom doing nothing. I don't even think the TV was on. I don't think the TV was working, and I just looked over my nightstand and I saw the Bible. So I said, all right, whatever. I picked up the Bible and I read, like, I got to the part where basically God, like how Eve just cursed us all. And basically, now we basically having to pay for Eve's sins. That's just literally how I remember reading it. And I was on fire. Because, like, why do we gotta sit there and die because of this bitch? Like, you know what I mean? Like, why do we gotta do that? But I was fuming at the part where now we gotta be in pain when we're giving birth, periods, and just all that. But yeah, I just remember just being on fire, because now we're not here to live on earth forever. You know, that's just what I remember just like feeling when I first read that Bible. This detergent is so strong, and for my nostrils it's terrible. And then I got a candle lit in the other bedroom, another room. But yeah, you know, I wish I was like those people that would just be calm and like, oh, such and such died. You know, like there's people have said, oh, my mom died and it's totally okay. My dad died and it's totally okay. You know, I can imagine, because I'd be all over the floor. Like, you would have to sedate me every day, like every single day. But that's just literally what I'm dealing with. And you know, I just remember dealing with anxiety in different ways. Like I said, now the dreams, you know, yeah, like the dreams, because my grandmother died in 14. I don't know if I even mentioned that, because I'm totally like forgetting. Because didn't I say my grandma died in 14? Because I had a dream and then I said my grandma died, and then later. Okay, so yeah, but that was before, because this was like before I was having like dreams. So I think so anyway. But I know my grandma died in 14, and yeah, no, really? Yeah, so I think, yeah, like I said, when I was having those dreams, my grandma actually did die, and then that's when Joan Rivers. So with my friend's baby, I don't even know if they had to do anything with it. But anyway, the fact is, you know, I am just having just high anxiety and just high, just fits of fear. Like, I'm just having just horrible anxiety. Like, it's horrible, and like I said yesterday, I'm just constantly having images of me in the casket, and like my mom just literally just throwing fits, like devastated, and like me, just like I said, close loved ones, like anybody that I know, I'm just seeing images of them laying in a casket. And obviously the last time I even went up close to a casket, and someone that I love was my godmom, which was what 2 years ago, about to be, and that was the last time. Surprisingly, I didn't throw a fit and stuff, but I obviously did cry, and I literally was barely. I had my eyes closed, like I literally was closing my eyes, and I was just like, trying to pace myself to see that, this is her, you know even though I know for years she actually wanted this. She was saying goodbye to me in 19, which was like, what? And was already like prepping me as if like, oh, well, that I'm not going to always be here forever, and um, yeah. And I'm just looking at the two people, maybe three people that passed away in what, 23? Yeah, it was in 23. It was crazy how like three of my close ones died of cancer only because of lifestyle, like just how they lived when they were younger. Like they was heavy drinkers, just eating habits, just like just whatever. Um, like my OB said to me a couple months ago, that anybody can get cancer. It don't even have to be uh like running through your family. Like bad, like living, like lifestyle choices when you're young can catch up with you. That's which is why my uncle passed anyway. So yeah. But like three, well, actually four times for me, because I knew someone. She died in what, January? I think it was somewhere. Yeah, it was a January. A few months. I don't remember. She died, and it was so awful because she was literally about to get discharged the next day in a few hours, and then she passed away, which was like, you know, and then like yeah, my godmom, and then it was like my aunt and uncle, which was like, just, can you imagine going back to back funerals? I was just thinking about, I can't imagine people who's constantly going to funerals. That was just like, damn, I'm just trying to grieve this person. Now I'm trying to grieve this person. Like, what? But oddly, I was okay, but it still hurt. The main one that really just stunned me was my godmom, and I sometimes have to scratch my head to even know that she's not even here. And I can literally honestly tell you, I did it maybe a couple of weeks ago, but I wasn't doing it excessively like I used to. I literally used to call her phone number a lot. I know like people grieve differently. Some that's not normal, some that's normal, but like I said, I was calling her phone quite often. I think it was around after she died or whatever. But actually I'm okay, you know. But anyway, that's not the point. But anxiety is pretty much um the subject at hand, because to hear that someone I did know, like her mom passed, yeah. Um So I just like, no more, please, And I'm actually okay. In 2 weeks I'll be having surgery. Like I said, a myomectomy. And so yeah, but anyway, I think that's all I have to say about on this video. But anyway, whoever watches this video and has that fear of just have anxiety, and what is it that you're feeling? Because I know anxiety, one of the main symptoms is fear, and fear. And I remember it's playing in my head, that Juice WRLD song. What's the name of the song? Oh gosh, okay, I forgot. But I remember in that lyric, it says my anxiety is the size of a planet, and I remember, I think it didn't say something about death or something like that. But anyway, I'm about to get off because I gotta change the shirt because it's so strong. But anyway, bye.